Grab Your Brew, and if you're new, welcome. Please like and subscribe. This week has been really unhinged for sure. So many on edge of your seat moments that had me cursing at the child pick-up line while I'm listening to everything live that's going on. Don't recommend that, honestly. Go ahead, grab your brew and come sit down with me because I've got some real tea to tell you. Let's first start with the defense yet again trying to get everything thrown out on a mistrial, and this is even before it's got in front of, well, obviously it's been in front of the jury, but before the jury could deliberate. Diddy spoke to the judge, and of course, being the narcissist that he is, he was all complimenting, like, Judge, you're doing such a good job. You're so amazing. That's something.
So Sean Combs, in open court, spoke. And this was about his decision, and it's his decision alone, whether or not he wants to testify. What happened?
So this is a moment that the jury isn't able to see. Again, the jury's not here when this is happening, but we inside the gallery, the public, the press, we're all able to kind of finally see Sean Combs speak a little bit because we don't see him speak beyond just him chatting with his attorneys.
Probably been
we don't hear him
advised
on an
not to
open
speak
mic.
because he's stupid.
Beyond, I think, the little utterance he had at the beginning of jury selection where he said, "I'm nervous, Your Honor," but now we got to hear him once again on a mic kind of talk about reasons why he's not going to testify. But he didn't get that much into it. Now, in terms of just the way he sounded, I will say this, Jesse, he sounded a little raspy when he was on the mic today in terms of him standing up to kind of allocute on his right to testify. But I think what was interesting too is that it felt like at times he might have been kind of like buttering up the judge a little bit, where he said, the judge asked him, "How are you doing today?" And then Sean Combs says, "I'm great. How are you?" And then he even told the judge, "You're doing a great job, Your Honor." And so I think, the Sean Combs giving the judge his credit, credit is due where it's.
Didn't he actually say you're doing an excellent job? Not just great. He said you're doing an excellent job.
So I heard "you're doing a great job," and then I think he had said another kind of verb or adjective afterwards, and it might have been excellent. But I think I was just writing down so fast I didn't hear that last part. But I think another reporter said the same thing, that he said great and excellent. So he really was kind of giving the judge those compliments there when really the question at hand was, are you going to be testifying or not? But, Sean Combs did what every single defendant does. He confers with his attorneys. He has lots of discussions with his attorneys. We hope that a lot of defendants are having a lot of discussions with their attorneys about whether or not to testify. But in this case, despite what Mark Agnifilo was initially kind of telling the press in terms of the beginning of the trial, where he said, "I don't know if I could keep Sean Combs off of the stand," it's official now. Sean Combs will not take the stand to testify in his own defense, which is.
So Sean Combs.
First of all, guys, do you like my flowers? My sissy brought them for me. My big sausage. Anyway, oh my days, guys, come on in and be ready for this roller coaster, because it is a roller coaster, I promise you. I was in the worst places while listening to this roller coaster. It was quite embarrassing. But by Wednesday, the 24th of June, the feds dropped the state charges. Yeah. So all of that we've done, they dropped it. And not all of the state charges, of course, but what does this mean? Well, the crimes and the charges helped build the RICO case because it was proving his predatory acts. English is my first language, I promise. But most of the state charges were dismissed. They were strong, but they were dismissed. All of these witnesses came to court and pretty much it got tossed out. The feds are playing a very, very dangerous game of chess. I can't speak today, guys, but can I speak any day? Alright, so the feds are playing a very dangerous game of chess, right? In hopes that it will pay off. Because right now, it's looking kind of like it's doing Diddy a favor. Or is it? Well, you need to keep in mind all of these stories were heard in the courtroom. Everybody heard it, it's on record. So even them throwing them out, all of these testimonies and all of these characteristic acts are now on record. Where if they didn't bring all of these state charges in, they would not be on record at all. which means every time they were like, I object, that's defamation of character, it would get thrown out. Well, because it's on the record now, it cannot get thrown out because it was used as part to build their case. But what they did keep, now keep in mind, because there's witnesses and they heard about the kidnapping, the battery, the sexual assault, the rape, the arson, the trafficking, the bribes. The witnesses heard everything. You can't rewind and erase that. Even if you strike it from the record at this point, everybody heard it. Laying out his character. Because let's face it, Diddy is not a good person. And we've known it for years, especially my generation, winding it back if you were in that genre of music, all the way back to Tupac and Biggie. Everybody knew Diddy was sus. 50 Cent told us Diddy is sus. Can't wait for his documentary to come out, by the way. But normally, like I said before, had they tried to say anything about his character, they've been like, objection. But everything that stands is still based on the RICO, because you only need 2 or 3 things to prove RICO, and they've technically done more than 2 or 3 things, while showing what kind of man we are dealing with. So the emotional testimonies are all on record, and the jury already witnessed the raw emotion from the witnesses and the cruelty of Diddy. Some may say this is an amazing strategy, removing all the extra jargon, basically the ones that they couldn't, without shadow of a doubt, prove. Because, we had the arson, we know he did it, but we know that it's all hearsay. We know that he tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car. We know this because of who Diddy is. But at the same time, it couldn't be proved, so they threw out the arson. They threw out the testimonies that could not be, if there was any question in some of this stuff, they threw it out. Basically, they were just clearing up all of the extra jargon and making it a clean case. But others say this is absolute illegal suicide. The Diddy posse, people are still on his side, Kanye, and a few others. Basically, they're all seeing this as a win. They think that this is a win for him because they could 100% prove the kidnapping, the abuse. We know he did the arson, but we can't prove it. Maybe because they didn't have witnesses, but they took all of the meat out of the RICO. Feds could use the state charges legally to build the RICO case, whereas the time of the statute of limitation, the state can no longer go after them for individual charges because their time limit has expired for that.
Let's do it. It's all I ever talk about anymore if you've listened to the podcast.
Yes, you have been covering this week after week.
Yeah.
Closing arguments are unfolding as we are sitting here right now. What is your prediction of where this is going to end up once the jury deliberates?
I need to watch closing arguments. It's super important how they tie everything together. But prior to seeing that, because we're working today, I would say they definitely have him on possessing people on 2 of the charges. I believe one of the sex trafficking charges, yes. The other one, no. I think Rico's gonna come back hung.
Okay. In your coverage of this, safe to say you've been a little disappointed with the way the prosecution presented this case.
I was hoping that we would get to this day and not have so many people asking so many questions and not really understanding or knowing how it's gonna go. You hope to get to this day pretty certain.
Yeah, you want it to be a slam
dunk.
The defense essentially chose not to give any argument. Diddy didn't testify. The prosecution has since, in their jury instructions, said, maybe don't pay attention to these charges focus on these ones?
It was simplifying how they're to look at the specific charges. So if you put a lot of options for attempts of this or that, it starts to confuse people. You want to try to make jury instructions as simple as possible so that you aren't getting confused people that then can't make a call. You don't want to actually have a hung jury at the end of the day. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of time to do this again.
But you need 2 or more things to prove RICO, and they kept 3. So when they amended their jury instructions, they removed 4 criminal acts. They kept the guns, the sex trafficking, and the obstruction of justice. My problem with this is that there is questions on if these women were trafficked. Were there any... It's such... I believe them removing things made it such a grey area, because they do have messages of the people that were kidnapped and trafficked and everything, where they act like they're so in love with Diddy, but people forget that abuse is abuse. It's very manipulative, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. I believe they're either geniuses or they just did legal suicide. Of course, so that led everybody to the closing arguments of why did you wait all this time? Just throw them out. But it was because it can't be erased. And of course now Diddy's kids are coming back around and coming to visit him, and let's take a look at this video.
We're currently in the middle of closing arguments for the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs case.
There was a big Combs family showing in court today. In the public gallery, Diddy's twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, were spotted this morning wearing matching white suits and black shirts. Upon seeing them, Diddy smiled and clasped his hands together in a prayer stance. Diddy's eldest daughter, Chance, is also in attendance, along with 2 of his sons, a niece, a nephew, and his mother, Janice. Diddy showed up wearing a baby blue sweater and grey pants, seemingly nervous as he rocked side to side and rubbed his hands together while standing up.
Prosecutor Slavic began her closing arguments highlighting the violent accounts we all heard from Cassie and Jane.
She said that it's the story of Sean Combs and the, quote, criminal enterprise he led. She said that he definitely, quote, counted on silence and shame to keep his victims quiet, and that he thought his fame, wealth, and power put him above the law.
She called his assistants young and eager foot soldiers, and that they, quote, didn't blink an eye when asked to do whatever it took to make him happy, even if it involved facilitating a crime. Slavic went on to say that Diddy was, quote, 100% behind the arson involving rapper Kid Cudi's car. You'll remember hearing Kid Cudi's testimony about how Diddy allegedly blew up his car.
My God, you guys, come in here, sit down and shut the door. I know you are still reeling from the federal government dropping the most emotionally charged offenses against Diddy. And I put my ear to the ground and I'm seeing what is being said. But here's the thing we have to talk about. Just keep your mind open. Because at this point, we have to talk about everything, not just the things that we know, not just the things we want to believe, but what actually may be happening. And we need to talk about Diddy and how what the feds did might be his road to pardon. Okay, here's the truth. Everyone's whispering, but no one's saying outright. Did Diddy cut a secret deal with the feds? I know, but hear me out. Just because the government hear me out. Let me organize the thoughts. Let's get into this. Because the government just dropped all the state charges, kidnapping, attempted arson, aiding sex trafficking, gone, and all that's left are federal charges. And if you've been paying attention, you already know you can't be pardoned for state convictions, but you can be pardoned for federal ones. And our president has signaled that if he sees evidence that Sean Diddy Combs was being treated unfairly, he would consider a pardon. Those were his words, not mine. Google it. And I didn't want to believe the whispers at first, but y'all, they're getting louder. What if the feds want this case to be federal only? And what if Diddy gave them something or someone behind closed doors? And if so, what does this mean for justice, for the victims, and for the truth? Don't worry, y'all. I got the receipts. I got the legal play-by-play. And I'm going to walk you through everything the headlines won't tell you. Y'all, let's go. Okay? Now, just to catch you up to speed, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, late Monday, prosecutors dropped some of the most dramatic charges against Sean Diddy Combs. You guys know that was the attempted kidnapping under California and New York law, attempted arson, and aiding sex trafficking. Okay? Now, officially, they're calling it streamlining of jury instructions. But off the record, in back rooms, people are nervous. They're whispering and they're wondering.
Well, guys, I pretty much just snippeted everything that was actually interesting going on this week. And like I said, it's a lot of legal jargon, but I honestly think that they've already won the case. There's no way. If Diddy gets found innocent, then the system's rigged. The system is done. I'll have zero faith in the system at that point. But allegedly, everything in this video is allegedly, so you can't sue me for nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I'm in a stupid mood today. I'm lacking sleep and I had too much caffeine. And I haven't taken my ADHD medicine today. I should probably do that. But anyway, guys, I will, of course, there's this video, and then I will be posting an additional video once the verdict comes out, because I will be posting that one the day of. I just want to give you all of the build up and lead up before the verdict's actually out. But do keep an eye out, because as soon as I get the verdict, which I'll be watching it live, well, I'll be watching people that were in the courthouse live, and of course our lovely Twitters that are in the courtroom. I'm going to be monitoring all of that the day of, and as soon as I get the correct information and I verify the correct information, I will be posting it. So go ahead, like and subscribe, and you will get a notification when that one uploads. And then we will be going on into other subjects, because we're going to be moving on to some myths and legends. And I am very excited. But we will be doing a little bit of mixtures and short videos in between. So please, guys, go ahead and email us at grabyourbrew@gmail.com for anything you would like us to research. And of course, if you want to do a react video, we're more than happy to do a react video. You just have to put in the subject line, react. So I don't mess it up and open it. Yes, I said it, Jody. It's me. I mess it one time and that's it. But it's okay, because she brought me flowers. People are lucky I can't sing, because I would be singing in this microphone. But anyway, thank you so much for watching Grab Your Brew. Please like and subscribe. I do see that majority of you are coming back, but you're not subscribing. And it's probably because you're on your TV. So I will say, if you press the up button twice, like the little circular button that brings up, like, the title of what you're watching pressed up again, and then it'll go over to our picture on the TV. Just hit that and click subscribe, because a majority of you are TV watchers and you do keep coming back. So evidently you like what you see, but we can't grow our channel unless you subscribe, which means we can't improve the quality of the content. And the more people that subscribe, the more content we can make, better quality content, and the more frequently we can post. But again, without my ramble, thank you so much for your support, guys. We appreciate you from the bottom of our heart. And please, please, please like and subscribe. Thank you for grabbing a brew with us. See you. I'm not even going to say a full week because we will be posting this week the verdict. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll also be posting on our regular scheduled Mondays. Thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing week.